Realm, supertraining.tv, Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. We have a bench check going on today. This is our bench day. Thursday night is when we jam on the bench. We do max effort type bench for myself. I've been pushing hard about every other week on the bench, which is kind of interesting because I used to bench pretty hard twice a week, and now getting fat, getting old, and think shit's falling apart, and I can only handle going really hard about once every other week, and that there could be a lot of factors in there. I attribute it more so to losing weight than anything else. I just don't have the fat pad to support the weights I was moving around before, and I'm basically moving around similar weights that I was moving around before. So it was still similar amounts of stress and things like that on the tendons, and maybe even more so now that I'm just got the reduced body weight. Here's 500 pounds for an easy pause double in your face. Should have probably done it for 3 just because. But that's kind of what we're working on for the day, is some pause doubles. We've been mixing things up quite a bit. One thing to keep in mind is that when an exercise, here we move into some speed work. Something to keep in mind for all of you out there, if you're listening, something to keep in mind when you're training, especially for powerlifting. You just don't see it enough for guys to take multiple sets. You do see it a lot on a dynamic effort day, but for some reason no one really applies it on any of the other days. And I think it's just a powerlifting mindset, or it's something that we just all got into a rut with. But if something feels good, why not bang out multiple sets with it? You don't always have to increase the bar weight. If the stimulus on the bar feels good enough, then stay with it. You know, go by how your body is feeling. And if something feels right, then it's probably right for you. And there's no reason why you can't just stick with that for multiple sets. So like on this day, I did that 500 for a double. Here's Juan working on some raw strength. So I did that 500 for a double there, 495 for a double. And it felt really good. And then I thought afterwards, I was like, you know what? I should have probably done 3 doubles with that. Why not? And it does look like I could have gone up in weight slightly, but that's not really the point. The point is, something feels good, stay with it and stay on it. And that's something that we've been doing here at Super Training. We've been, days that we bench, we've been staying on the bench. Days that we deadlift, we've been staying on the deadlift. And days that we squat, we've been staying on the squat. It's a squat followed by a squat followed by a squat. It's a bench followed by a bench followed by more benching. It's a deadlift followed by a deadlift followed by more deadlifting. Now, if it doesn't feel good, then you should move on to the assistance exercises. That's what they're for. Assistance exercises are only great. The only reason why an assistance exercise is great is because it keeps you from doing more barbell work. And more barbell work can sometimes be detrimental, sometimes set you backwards. So you have to try to get a little bit of a balance between the two, between doing the barbell work and doing the assistance work. But the beauty of barbell work is that it is barbell work, and that's what you're trying to improve on. But the nasty side of barbell work is that it is barbell work, and it can kind of it can have you toasted at times. So keep that in mind. When next time you do something that feels right, feels good, stick with it. This is Marcus, and Marcus is an Olympic lifter / strongman / somebody who wants to start to hit up some powerlifting meets. And Jesus, he have a lot of strength. I mean, he did doubles for days with I think 375 or so. There's 405 for some speedy work. You can see I got the slingshot elbow sleeves on. I got the gangster wraps on. You can see many of my teammates do as well. You can see Bill trying to lower that bar down all at one speed on that set. And it's really difficult for him to lock that second one out. But he does get it. You want to make sure you're not ever bouncing. Don't ever bounce a bench off your chest. You want to make sure that you're coming down all one speed, keeping everything tight. And here I am trying to coach Marcus up on bringing the elbows in and then driving them back out. kind of a little known secret on the bench, but you can really drive those elbows out hard. You can actually throw them right back towards the rack, and the weight, with the weight in your hands, your elbows won't come out too much. You see Bill's got the weight like too much in his fingers. He needs to close his hand more, squeeze the barbell more. So exercise number 1 was bench pressing. Now we're on exercise number 3. But exercise number 2 was bench pressing as well. Speed bench. And now we're moving into some close grip slingshot presses. So I didn't even realize it at the time, but this is what video is great for. Marcus is moving his head around a little bit too much on the bench, so that's something that we'll have to work on him with, trying to keep that head either stabilized, or if he's going to pick up his head, he needs to know how to pick up his head. I don't think many people have a real understanding of what you're trying to do there. Trying to rotate off of your sternum, basically. It's somewhat of a complex technique, actually. So got about 475 on there, close gripping it. These were difficult after doing all the other work. Man, that shit hurt. Here's Juan now in his bench shirt, getting off a 3 board there. Juan really likes to, adhere to the principle of really overloading in his training, and benching off the higher boards, handling heavier weight, and then over a period of a few weeks, he starts to work his way down in boards. Treston, we typically have Treston do some other type of things with his bench that are slightly different, just due to the fact that Treston is just really good at arching. He's got a big, thick body underneath him there, and he's able to get weights down easily to touch. So we sometimes have him work in a little bit lower range earlier in his training, or earlier in the training block, and then as the meet gets closer, we start to work a little bit more on top end again, as we're doing here. Just realize that when you are doing shirt work, if you are a geared lifter, you're somebody who really wants to get better in the shirt, you do have to learn your trade. You do have to be in the bench shirt often. You have to be in it a lot. You have to really embrace it. Here goes Juan with a big weight off a 2 board. Looks like about 710. Slows down a bit there, but looks like he gets it locked in position there. I think Juan was setting up a little bit sideways on the bench. We didn't really notice it until later on in the training session. I want to say that Treston worked up to around 740 or so on this day, but I can't quite remember. But whatever the case is, he's doing great, making a lot of improvements. And that is it from supertraining.tv.